blessed with a championship prosperity the likes of which we have never seen, cursed by a past riddled with despair. This is Blursed.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Blursed. Today is Tuesday, once again, January 31st. We're at the end of January already. We are hurtling to baseball season. I'm pumped about it. I'm joined here by Blake once again, and guys will be hopping in here in a few minutes. But Bleezy, what's going on, man?
Yo, what up, man? While I was talking about this, I'm messaging Kai's in Discord, so sorry, I was a little distracted. I don't look like Kai's gonna
Uh-oh.
make it actually. So
Uh-oh.
yeah, it doesn't look like he's gonna
All
make
right.
it
We
actually.
knew it was a risk starting without him,
I don't
but
think that's why. I think he's running late anyways. We haven't heard from
ah,
him all day. I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt. I think Aaron's just had a day. It's had a
hey,
Monday.
happens to all of
Yeah,
us.
it does happen to all of us. But welcome everybody. Man, I feel like this last weekend I didn't feel like I did too much, but it was one of those weekends where I was like, man, I wish I had another weekend. And I feel like I'm saying that a lot. I just like the weekend so much. But work today was good. I actually had a good Monday today for once.
Man,
So
yeah, I always feel good after a 3 day weekend though. So like if every weekend was just a 3 day weekend somehow, it'd be like the perfect amount of time.
oh, that'd be excellent.
So that's
I think we moved there before I don't know, maybe next 10
before
years.
before you and I retire.
Yeah, maybe 10, 15 years from now, maybe.
Eh, yeah,
Hopefully.
we'll see.
You can hope. We can dream.
These are the same companies that are like trying to move you like back to the office and shit. You
Oh,
work in the office already.
I do work in the office. I enjoy it. We are looking into more remote stuff though, more flexibility for our employees. So it's something that's on the talk. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm hoping it leads to something good. So
Hey,
yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, if you're a listener and you work remote, comment on YouTube and just make fun of me, please. Let me know how good you have it. I want to hear.
See, remote works great because when it's snowing out here, I can wait for it to stop snowing and then start shoveling like in the middle of the day when it's at its warmest, which today was like 9 degrees. Uh, so I'm getting better at snow shoveling though.
Yeah,
And
we've
there's a
had a
lot of strategy to it. So it's like depends on the type of snow and the powder and the humidity in the air, how to really lift with your legs. And
is it snow weekly now or what's
man,
the
it has just been going and going. Like it felt like this system just kind of started over the mountain, then ran towards us, and then it sat on top of us, and it was not supposed to. So we were supposed to get like a dusting, then it turned into
yeah.
like 3 or 4 inches now. So was not thrilled about that.
It's
But
good to know that the weathermen everywhere mess up like that. Because I remember being from North Georgia, that happened to us all the time. They're like, oh, and there's no chance of snow. And then you wake up in 6 inches. You'd be like, what the heck?
I mean, I
Or they
remember,
call for
yeah,
snow all week and then there'd be no snow.
yeah, like
Yeah. Like,
you'd be out of school for a couple days, and there was not snow at all,
yeah. And you're
which
like, what's
that was
going
great.
That was great. That was great. That's being from rural Georgia where there'd be ice on a mountain road somewhere and they wouldn't be able to pick up one kid. So they have to cancel school for everybody.
Eh, I mean,
Gotta love it.
can't tell them, man. I love the benefit from myself. I mean, well, in Panorama where we lived too, it was
Yeah,
like
no,
that was like some of the
exactly.
worst of it. So
No, 100%, 100%. But you watch playoff games over the weekend?
I did, yeah. I was getting back into it, so I needed to detox from all sports there for a minute after the long run we had of Braves into the Falcons.
And Hawks
Which
and dogs and
those,
everything
yeah, and the
else.
dogs,
Yeah.
of course. So it felt good to take a step back and do some other things to relax the
Yeah.
mind a little bit. But yeah, I found myself wanting to watch the games yesterday, and one of them was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks to see Brock Purdy go down. And honestly, like after watching the two games, I don't see how Kansas City is going to beat the Eagles. Not because I think like the Eagles are just like world like that much better than them, but Kansas City just does not have a run game at all. And the Eagles have a decent like a good one. And I just feel like whoever can run the ball better in these games tend to win. So
These teams are built so differently.
differently.
Like
Yeah.
the team that's built around Pat Mahomes is like much worse. I think maybe the defense is good, but like it feels like the Eagles have a complete team,
It's
and
that
Jalen
cap
Hurts
though,
has
too.
weapons. Like
Yeah.
I mean, who
He's
Martez? What is it? Valdez Scantling. He
Scantling,
was the
yeah.
guy that had the big game for the Chiefs, and he was like the third receiver on the Packers for years and years.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
You have Juju and Travis Kelce, and then
yep,
Pacheco. But Pacheco is like he's
he's
good,
a
but they
rookie.
just can't run. Yeah, they just can't do much running wise. And so like I mean Kelsey at this point I believe is probably the greatest tight end of all time. I think he should be in
I
that
think so.
conversation. Yeah, if not number one. So I mean they do have that, but man, when you look at all the Eagles weapons and you also look how loaded that defense is too, like that's the thing is the Eagles defense is top top five defense and top
Just
five offense.
the sustained success of Travis Kelsey, like the longevity he's had without getting in any like severe injuries. Really,
Yeah.
that's kind of the difference between him and Gronk. Gronk obviously has won a lot of Super Bowls with Tom Brady, but I don't know. Kelsey
I
looks like
saw
he's spry still. He could go on a run here with Mahomes.
Oh, absolutely. I saw something too that I know this is fantasy, so it doesn't correlate as much to like actual stats, actually like the game time stuff. But I saw a stat recently that Kelsey was like tied in number one in fantasy in like 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. The only year he missed, 2021, was Mark Andrews, and he's number one tight again in 2022.
He was
So
probably the
like,
number 2 tight end last year.
yes, like
So
since Gronk kind of left his peak, it's been Kelsey every year until Mark Andrews had 1 year in
yeah.
between, which is crazy. Like that's just pure dominance out of position, like no other's really seen. But I guess that's kind of typical for tight ends. I'm not 100% sure though. Like I don't.
I mean, I'm trying to think back to right when he started getting relevant, and the Chiefs had Alex Smith right before Mahomes, and
Yeah,
they were. I think they may have gone almost an entire season without a passing touchdown to a wide receiver, which is unheard of. But I
because
think
Kelsey had like their
Kelsey
yeah
had some touchdowns, and the running backs as well. I can't remember who the
yeah.
running back was back
Was
then,
that back
but
Jamal Charles or was that
might it might
after
have been
that?
tail end Jamal Charles, who like
Yeah,
not a great one,
right.
but yeah, so it's kind of interesting. But so you're predicting Eagles?
I am predicting the Eagles, which it's hard to root against or predict against them or the best quarterbacks. I think Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback and he's the biggest
Yeah,
difference maker. But I just think if the Eagles play their game, they should win the game. I just think they should be the betting favorites.
they're the better team probably
Yeah,
all around. But you never know what can happen. Or I mean,
yeah. I thought the
look at that
Falcons were a better team.
TCU
That
Michigan game or
yeah,
whatever.
or
So
the Falcons when they lost to the Patriots. I'll bring it up again. I think
I
the Falcons that year were the better team on paper. I I stand by that. They're the better team on
uh,
paper.
I had a coworker bring 28-3 up to me today. So
Yeah, I'm glad you got to keep its relevancy. It has to stay alive.
yeah, I mean, I don't want the Eagles to win at all either. Really,
Oh yeah, me neither. I'm not a big.
I don't have a hatred towards the Eagles like I do other Phillies sports teams, but I don't like the fan base in general. I don't like their demeanor and like how they go about
Oh,
it.
Philadelphia fans are the worst fan
Yeah,
base. Yeah,
they're pretty bad. They're right up there with New York, so
yeah.
I don't really want them to have success.
But what
And
I like about
it could be that they lose a third major championship in the same season.
that
So
would be
that'd be
incredible.
great
That would
because
be awesome. Soccer,
they
right?
they lost
MLS.
the World Series and MLS on the same day, I think, last fall. So it would be that'd be brutal if they lost another one. So
It
I'm kind
would.
of pulling for the Chiefs here and Andy Reid.
I'd like to see Andy Reid win as well. I'd like to see Patrick Mahomes win. I don't. I can't stand the Eagles. I don't like to see them do well, and it kills me that they went from they're last year time we went to the playoffs. They're the year they won the Super Bowl and they beat us because Julio couldn't catch a pass.
Yep.
And they go on to win that Super Bowl. And then since then, they've only had one bad year. They've been great. Like they've been
Yeah.
good. They've made the playoffs every year but one.
So they kind of closed our window there, didn't they?
They did. They
With
were
that
the official
loss.
closing of our window for sure. And that's the thing about the Eagles. I feel like in my entire lifetime, the Eagles have been a good team. They've had like maybe 1 to 3 bad years. Like I'm on Pro Football Reference. They've had since 2000. They've had only four losing records. No,
Yeah.
five, and two of those were 7-9.
It's probably the tail end of McNabb and then Andy Reid stay there. There's some really good storylines going into the Super Bowl though, and like
Oh, Andy Reid,
Andy
Andy
Reid
Reid, yeah,
trying to get payback against the
the
team that
Kelsey
fired him.
brothers.
Yep, the Kelsey brothers. They have a podcast together too. I haven't checked it out yet, but
It's
it's
pretty
getting
good.
good
I listen
reviews.
to their TikToks. Their TikToks are really good. Like they pull out really
Nice.
good shorts, so I like those. Also you have a bulldog on every team too. Like I saw that last week. Between all four teams, there's a bulldog on every team. So No matter what, a
Nice.
Bulldog will win the championship again.
Go Dogs.
Yeah, good.
Speaking of, shout out to my parents for getting me this hat and shipping it out to Colorado.
Ayo, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of dogs,
What about them?
wait, do you want to do Blursed of the week this week?
I don't.
Feels wrong without Aaron.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I guess this is a merged Blurst of the Week / dogs. So I think we're gonna have the same one.
Yeah, let's talk about this. Let's talk about. You want to talk about Stet?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess was it reported this morning or yesterday? Yesterday morning.
So, yeah, Sunday morning.
Yeah, Sunday morning. You wake up to Stetson Bennett being arrested in Dallas, Texas, for public intoxication, which I want to say it's not that big of a deal because it's not. Like Baker, we were talking about this in the bullpen warming up. That Baker Mayfield also got arrested in 2017 for the same thing, so it's happened. But for me, it's just a bad look. It's a really bad look because
usually being arrested is though.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, being arrested no matter what's a bad look. You don't want to be arrested and especially while you're applying for a job because that's what he's doing. He's basically applying for a job. So being arrested is the last thing you want to do. Especially after you come out, because here's my thing: is last week you came out and said, "I'm not going to play the Senior Bowl because I'm going to focus on getting ready for the draft," and then you're going to get arrested the weekend right after that, saying that.
Is that what he's doing in Texas? Is he like at a training facility down there or something?
I don't know why he's in Dallas, Texas, and that might be why. I don't know. I don't know enough about what he's doing there, why he's in Dallas, but it's just an all-time bad look to say you're getting ready because I don't think he has to play the Senior Bowl. Like I think he's done enough. So I get why he doesn't want to play the Senior Bowl, but to say that and then get arrested the following Saturday night into Sunday, it's just an all-time bad.
It makes it look like he's just partying instead of like trying to practice. But I do understand him not playing the Senior Bowl because he's played a bunch of extra games that these other guys haven't.
Oh yeah,
he was the MVP of every playoff game that he played in. So, like,
I
does he have to prove at this point, like, that he hasn't shown already? He's played against the best teams.
Yeah, so all the people are saying, like, he should go because that will help his draft. I don't agree with that. I actually think it could hurt him more than help him at those things. But this getting arrested hurts you more than helps you, too. Like, I think he does fall down some in drafting-wise now because you said this earlier. He's 25. Like, you expect this out of a 22-year-old kid, maybe especially a 21-year-old kid coming out of college. But when you're 25, like, I know we've been saying age doesn't matter, but it kind of does matter when you're getting arrested for stupid crap like this.
Age doesn't matter because it's within the rules in the bounds of the NCAA, but you are still 25 years old, so you shouldn't be making stupid decisions like this. You surround yourself with the right people, and like if you are gonna go out and party or whatever, then like you're in a good situation, and you'd have to think that he would have people around him that like. I don't know.
Well, keep him out of trouble.
Like you just have one friend that's maybe not drinking quite as much as everybody else, and then like that person is in charge of getting Ubers to the hotel room or whatever. But yeah, it's just kind of bizarre. It's like you are 25, buddy. You're a little too old to be pulling that shit, and I think that is probably going to call into question his maturity.
It will call into maturity.
He's getting drafted against these other kids that are 4 or 5 years younger than him. So. And they're not doing stupid shit like this, or at least not getting caught.
No, exactly. This needs to be like the one thing, and we said this about Stetson, like he looked hungover in a couple of games this year. I don't think that's true, but stuff like this now is going to stuff like this might actually bring that narrative more to life. And also like Steak Shapiro coming out and talking about how he was disrespectful at the fans thing. Like this just gives the fans who already dislike him more reasons to dislike him. So it's a really just bad timing for Stetson, and you should don't get arrested, man. Like just
bad optics. I think I was telling somebody, I was like, why is he in Dallas in the first place? If he's out doing that in Athens, he just gets a ride home for free from the police probably, and like nothing
right
happens.
Yeah, like
I don't know, the whole thing's kind of bizarre.
Not much thought process behind it, not much analyzing like the situation. And I mean obviously he's got arrested for drunkenness, so he wasn't thinking. I saw there were rumors that he was going around like banging on people's doors and stuff, and like that's what got him. Like he was going around a nice part of Dallas banging on doors, and like that's why I heard that on 99 The Game, but no one verified whether that was true or not. So I'm not 100% sure.
I think I saw some rumors about that as well, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Living in Athens for 4 to 6 years, like we did, like. Did you ever have anybody come and knock on your door thinking it was their house? Because that happened multiple. There are people that just walk straight in.
Y'all people walk in your house. Yeah. I was like, y'all people walk in your home. Yeah. So, no, it's so funny too. I saw a TikTok today talking about college, and it's like Is it not weird to anyone else that high school is more like being an adult than college? Because in high school, you have to wake up at a set time. You have to go to work or school at 8 a.m. You're there till 3:34. You get home and then like the same thing every day. Because in college, you're talking about a hard day when you go, well, my first class is at 10 and then I got another one at 1. And
Oh
then, yeah,
yeah,
after that, I'm good to go. Like college is like, it can in some ways make you less responsible than you would have been before. And I think,
yeah.
like you said, maybe you're just so ingrained in that culture because he's been in college since 18.
Yeah,
they,
get a job, you bum.
yeah, go back to Canes, man. They start taking those orders. But speaking of dogs too, if we want to segue from the dogs into men's basketball, because Aaron would want to talk about this. As we were getting off the pod last week, we're talking about Georgia was going to play Tennessee. Tennessee whooped our butts. We lost by 29 points, 41
Ooh,
to 70. Tennessee is ranked second in the nation. It shows
damn.
that we are not there yet. Like we're
Mm,
with Mike White, we're good enough now to like compete and stay 500, which is dope because I mean this is his first year here. He doesn't have as many
yeah,
recruits as he would want, but not a great look there. But then we went on to beat South Carolina by 3 on Saturday, and just perspective wise, this puts us at 8th in the SEC. And why does Google change me off this? And it also puts us now at 14-7 on the year, 4-4 in conference. And we're 11-1 at home. But if you look back at the 2 games we lost the week before, and we talked about on the pod, Kentucky and Vanderbilt, man, like you really wish you could win those, like have those games back, because then you'd be a nice 16-5. Like those are
yeah.
both winnable games. So like I don't know, the Tennessee game is an outlier, I would say, because we've actually looked pretty good for the most part.
How many more games do they have like leading up to like the SEC tournament?
Yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more games. We play Auburn and A&M this week. Next week we'll be playing Mississippi and Kentucky. So Ole Miss and Kentucky. So
So
we'll get our
still
revenge
in the
game.
mix here.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
and I think
hopefully pull out some of these tougher games
yeah, if we
coming up.
win just a handful more games, like I don't know what the sweet spot is to be like the dance eligible, but I think you want to get close to between 16 and 20 games to win. So I think we can get there still. We
Yeah,
definitely have some winnable games left on our schedule. We have some hard games too. That we have to play Alabama, who's ranked 4th in the nation. We have to play Auburn, 25th in the nation. We still got to play Kentucky, who has a good coach. Got to play at Florida again.
I'm trying to think the
So
last time UGA was actually in the tournament. I
maybe
think
20,
I was
maybe
like,
2013.
was it? I
Maybe
feel
let's
like it
see
was earlier
UGA's last time in the dance.
because there was one year, maybe like when I was in like ninth grade.
2015. 2015 was the last time.
Okay,
I think we were like an 8 or 9 seed. We played Michigan State in the first round, if I remember
that's
correctly.
kind of surprising. Was that during our last coach's tenure?
No, it was before our last coach. This was before Tom Crean.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, we've been bad for years.
Yeah, kind of weird. Hope maybe we'll get a turnaround here.
I think we will. I think Mike White I think he's the solution that we've been missing. At least I think like what you're looking for at a UGA basketball right now, that's kind of what Mark Rick did, where you're just trying to bring the what I'm trying to say, the expectations up to a, you know what I mean? They're trying to set an
Yeah,
expectations mark, and we just haven't had that in years. So I don't think Mike White's the guy who's going to bring us to championships, but he might be the guy that gets us to the next place before we get to championships. So he's going to really be pivotal in building this program.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's trended the right direction thus far. So you
Yeah,
get one superstar to come to school, maybe like Anthony Edwards was.
that's the crazy
Actual
part is
capable coach.
yeah,
Uh, somebody that knows the X's and O's a little bit better.
especially watching Anthony Edwards and the NBA right now, and you're like, God, like we had that guy on our team, and we couldn't even make the dance with him. Like
Yeah,
the
it's
Oklahoma
pretty wild.
Sooners with Trey Young were able to go to the dance. Like I mean, you any competent coach should be able to get a player of that caliber to get the rest of the team to the March Madness. So yeah, bad luck.
Pitsy, Tom Pitsy.
Tom
Uh,
Pitchy.
what else you want to talk about? I've
Um,
decided that Blake is the content manager, so I can't be bothered to try to be creative and make these ideas myself. So I
well,
just
it's all right.
try to riff off of Blake.
I think out of all the 3 of us, I think I intake the most sports. Like of every sport, I
All
just read
around, probably
all
so.
around.
Yeah,
I'm just reading the most. Like I think we all have our niches for sure, but I definitely try to keep up with like what's being talked about. Something else we're talking about if we want to transition out of the dogs into more basketball, go into the Hawks.
Hawks.
Yeah. The Hawks suck, man. We are the definition of a mid team. And I hate saying that because every fan base around the NBA was calling us mid before the season started. And turns out we are just mid. We're eighth in the East and a 15-team conference. We are 25-25 overall. We're 17-17 against Eastern Conference teams. We're 8-8 against the West. We're 16th in offense and 19th in defense. Um, we are the mid. And the worst part about this is 19th in defense. Like, we would have told me before the season we'd be 19th in defense. That's a huge improvement from last year. But the problem is we went from a top 5 team offensively, now 16th offensively. And the biggest thing is we went from shooting the 3-point ball to shooting the mid range. We're just outdated. Our offense is outdated. We shoot the most twos. I was trying to defend it early in the season because I was like, maybe he knows something that we don't know. I can't defend it. I don't.
Yeah.
He didn't know anything. He
I
knows
feel
how to
like
lose games.
it's more frustrating because the talent is there now to
Yeah.
be successful, to be a top 4
Yes.
caliber team, and it's not happening.
No,
And
I
there's
mean,
all the turmoil at the top too in the front office, and you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. So
and it doesn't look like we have any direction. One
yeah,
moment you hear we're trading John Collins, the next moment you just, oh, the Hawks have decided not to trade him. Like, it's all over the place. And why is all this information getting leaked all the time? Why
it's
are we
exhausting.
always? It
That's
is.
like, imagine being John Collins having to deal with this
I
every
want
week. He
trade
probably
me.
is like, fuck it, like just send me off.
And the worst part is like John Collins is like had been very adamant that he loves Atlanta and would love to play his entire career in Atlanta. And it's just like all you're ever hearing though is how the team doesn't want you around.
Just getting yanked around year to year.
I hate it for him. And I don't really have too much I want to say about the Hawks because it's not fun to talk about them right now. Um, we are a talented team with a bad coach, and because of that, we are going to be a mid-level team until then. And the hardest part too is that, like you were saying, we've had previous Hawks teams finish like top 4 in the East with a much less talented team, but we just had competent coaching and they knew how to win games, and
Yeah.
we don't know that. And there's like this air of just, I don't know, it's laughable. It's literally laughable. So after we go on that impressive win streak and we beat the Raptors, so we beat the Pacers, Raptors, Heat, Mavericks, and Knicks. Those are 5 teams all like who are going to postseason right now. Then we turn around and lose to the Hornets, who are not in the top 8. We lose to the Bulls, who, let me make sure, they are not in the top 8. We beat the Thunder by 5 in a head scratching game, and then we lose to the Clippers, who are a Western Conference team, and they are in the playoff hunt. But like, it's just, come on, guys,
Yeah.
come
It's
on,
just it's all
guys,
over the map, and we're exactly where you don't want to be as an NBA franchise right now, because you're right in the
middle of the
middle.
road.
Like you
Yep.
said, you're not going to be getting excellent draft capital, and if you
Nope.
don't have like a top 5 pick in the NBA, it's hard to find a player to make a difference.
And the worst part
Um,
is the Hawks actually did that like a couple times. We got Kevin Herter, we got John Collins, and we drafted AJ Griffin and Jalen Johnson all late. Like, we found diamonds in the rough. We can't do anything with them.
yeah,
It's like, what's the point then? Why even find good players if you can't win games with them?
it'll be coming up here in the next couple of months on the coaching search, I would imagine, and you
Yeah.
would think it'd be a desirable landing spot for a coach that like is either
Oh, it
wanting to
has to
break into the
be.
NBA, or I mean, unless they don't want to deal with ownership and the front office, but like the talent level there is
Even a
very
big name
good.
coach exactly would maybe want to come here. Like, a big name coach would look at this and be like, and I'm worried now too that we're going to do something like, the coach for the Boston Celtics who just got suspended for a year because he had affairs.
Oh
Yeah.
boy,
I'm worried that
yeah,
we're going to do something like that and go hire someone like that because, which would be like, yeah, it'd be a smashing coaching get, but do we want to bring that into? I don't want to. I hate the culture we're already like, what am I trying to say? Instilling right now within the
yeah,
Hawks due to the front office turmoil, and I just feel like we're going to go do something dumb afterwards. And I hope that's not the case. And I know I'm being pretty negative right now, but that's how I'm feeling, which sucks because if you rewind this podcast to September, October, I was like, "This is the Hawks window, man. We're about to
yeah.
fly. We're about to," and then it's come crashing down, and it's how it feels to
Yeah,
be an Atlanta fan sometimes.
that's what I mean. You know, we can take in all the stuff in the media. We can watch the games and see the players, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, especially with the ownership and front office. So uh, there was some stuff going on that wasn't
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And then the
Uh,
trade deadline is February 9th. So by this
okay.
next podcast, we might not see any movement But I don't know. I'm keep your eyes open because something will change. They're going to
Do
do
you want to see
something.
movement?
Really, no. Really, I don't. I really at this point, like I'd like for us just unless we get an offer we can't refuse where it's like someone offers us 3 first-round picks for John Collins, like that's not going to happen. But like if we had something like that, then yeah, I would say go for it. Like let's just do it. But
So besides like a ridiculous offer, you want to ride out the rest of the season, see what happens. Probably nothing's going to happen, and then
let's get a new coach.
fire
Let's
Nate.
let's
Yeah.
fire Nate. Let's get a new coach and let's restart. Like
Ugh.
because I worry now they're going to make a move based on Nate's coach. Like I don't know. I feel like we're in such a different. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like the coach, I feel like it's going one way, where the front office is going another way. The players all seem unhappy. Unless there's a
No.
way they can make people happy, like unless there's a move that they know they can make, that's the problem. Like you said, we're not tapped in. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I know if you had Kevin Herter on your team right now, you'd be probably 10 games, like you'd probably be 5 to 6 games above 500 at least, and you'd be having like that's the problem. We traded him to save money to stay under the cap, like the salary tax, and we shouldn't have done it. Like if you think you can
Yeah.
compete, you should go for it. And maybe they saw us coming. Maybe they're like, we're not going to make it this year, which is like, why are we wasting all this talent then?
Man.
Why even
Yeah.
trade for DeJounte Murray then? Like,
The thing that sucks is like you are, it's another year wasted of Trey in his prime without really making a competitive run at it. And,
yeah,
stretches of that happens through like great players' careers and these superstars. But, you know,
and
they start to get impatient and these
yeah,
players can get traded or like they basically create their own trades like just by texting. I think like just look at LeBron and the teams that he's put together. Not saying Trey's on that level, but he's a piece that like LeBron would be like, yeah, I want him on my team.
no, 100%.
Um,
Yeah,
so
you're 100% right too. And then there's already media, there's already been reports coming around that Trey's going to want out. I don't buy that. I don't believe that yet. But you could get to that point. You
yeah,
definitely could get to that point, especially if the front office just drops the ball completely. Like if we don't make any moves here, maybe Trey wants to make a move. Maybe Trey's like, guys, we got to try to make the playoffs again. Because here's the thing about playoffs. You can't, I know we looked at it, the top seeds have a hard time doing like beating the top seed once you're in playoffs. But
yeah,
any team that has a superstar has a chance. Like you do
yeah.
have a chance. So like having Trey Young gives you a chance if you make it to the playoffs. You got to make it there though. And so
Yeah, hopefully is like at least a
yeah,
top 6 seed,
yeah, exactly. And we're in
7,
the
8.
and as much as I talk crap about us, like we're still in that hunt. Like we are 2.5 games out of sixth place right now.
Oh, we're definitely 100% going to hit the 8 seed and then get put out after a round, and then Nate is going to keep his job, and then we're just going to stop covering the Hawks because Blake is not going to watch
I
it
won't be a
anymore.
fan anymore. Yeah, and I'll tell
Yeah.
everyone else in Atlanta not to watch the Hawks either. Yeah, like and just don't root for them until they. I don't know. That's the hardest part about being a fan of teams, especially when like for me, I didn't choose who I root for. I was like, my dad is Atlanta fan, so I was want to be an Atlanta fan too. I'm from Georgia. It makes sense. Like I want to root for where I'm at. But when everything goes wrong, I get why people switch teams. I get why people will be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Like, let me pick who I want to root for. I don't want to root for this. This is awful. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
and a lot of these players they go where they're drafted, and like once they hit a chance to like be traded somewhere else or go into free agency, they can choose wherever they want to live or wherever they want to be.
yeah.
Like and they don't really owe anybody anything at that point. They can go wherever they want, and usually they don't come to Atlanta. And maybe that's something that we haven't been paying enough attention to. Maybe there's a reason why players don't want to come play in Atlanta, even though it's a great basketball city.
I think some of it has to do, and it's like almost every sport besides baseball, is that we have fair weather fans. Unless we have a good product, fans don't go to the games. But that's because it's a transplant city. Atlanta has a lot of people that aren't from here that live in Atlanta. So
Yeah,
unless your team's doing well, people from out of town don't want to go see your team or root for them. It's not worth it for them because their Yankees or whoever they're rooting for back home is doing better. So why would I pay
yeah,
to go see this team play? Yeah. I think that's the hard part about being transplant city.
yep.
And you outprice your other fans. So what can you
You
do?
find yourself in the middle there. I feel like Denver kind of feels the same way out here, just because, while the Broncos are probably the most tried and true and the biggest fan base out here. It's way bigger than any college footballs and all that jazz. But yeah, the Rockies definitely fall in that boat.
Oh
Luckily,
yeah.
luckily the Nuggets have been pretty good in the past few years.
Oh yeah, they've had the arguably one of the best players in the world on their team the last
Yeah,
couple of years. It helps. That
yeah,
helps.
the Joker. But yeah, the Rockies are definitely in that boat. Like everybody goes to Rocky games when the other team comes to town. So like when the
Exactly,
Braves
another
come to
team.
town, I'm gonna go to the game.
Yeah,
But I'm not gonna go otherwise probably
yeah.
unless I don't know, just want to go into town. And it is a super nice stadium over there though. Anyways, I don't know how I started talking
We're
about the
going to a
Rockies.
game in July. Me and you will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'll be out
Taylor
in
Swift too.
Colorado. Yeah, yeah. Who needs Taylor Swift when you go watch the Rockies play, baby? And those mountains blue, you better believe it.
Oh, they stay blue over there, of course. When you're a mile high. Yeah. You want to talk? You want to talk a little bit of baseball real quick?
Yeah, let's go to the baseball first. I think that's good.
Braves.
So
Braves.
the biggest news that came out in the past week, and I don't think we talked. I think it came out the morning after we talked. But Chip Carey has moved on from the Braves. He's been the announcer for the Braves since like 2005, 2006 range.
Yep.
So that's pretty significant. He's been around a long time.
And there's
And,
mixed vibes too, I feel like.
yeah, and even before him, his dad, Skip, was
Yeah, Skip.
the Braves announcer as well dating back to TBS. And so I guess Bally Sports is going through some turmoil. They may be going bankrupt, but it was a lateral move for Chip because he's going to call games for the Cardinals in St. Louis, who is also through Bally Sports. Like all their local games are Bally Sports. So don't really know how that all is going to shake out, but
How do you feel about it?
I was
You gonna
kind
miss
of
Chip?
happy about it. I get
Yeah.
annoyed with him a lot actually, and I've
I
heard
do
really good
too.
things about the radio guys. Ben
Yeah.
Ingram is like the favorite to get it, just because he's been doing the radio
Yeah.
play-by-play for a long time. But yeah, I get tired of his shtick, especially because I watch a lot of games, and it's like he's broadcasting to fans that don't watch like
Watch.
that maybe
Yeah.
watch once a week and not every night, because the fans
Right.
that watch every night are like nauseated when he does his. You ever hear him say like, "Oh, and that foul ball was caught by a fan from Canton, Georgia," or whatever? Like he does
Yeah.
that 5 times a game.
Yeah.
Like if he did it like once a game, maybe then it wouldn't be as horrible. But like that
Right.
alone, like I was watching enough Braves games lately that Kinsey started picking up on the fact that he
Him
was
doing the
like
same
saying so
things.
many over and over and
Yeah.
over, and she's like, "Oh my God, make this guy shut up, please." And you get the feeling that because Jeff Francoeur, who calls a lot of the games beside him the last few years, is a really good color guy.
Oh, Frenchie's
So
awesome.
hopefully he starts calling more games and they phase out. Like they had Brian Jordan. I didn't really like him as the color
I like him
guy
as the
either.
post game, but I
Post game
don't.
he's fine,
Yeah.
but yeah, like calling the games is not the best.
Yeah.
Peter Moylan called some games, he did okay, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they bring in. It's a good team to be an announcer of, probably one of
Oh,
the more
for sure.
lucrative markets, just
Yeah.
because of the
But
spread of the fan base.
however, the Braves do have an awful TV contract though. Like we have one of the
Yeah.
worst TV contracts.
That's
So
what'll be really interesting. Like I just think it's bizarre that none of these big leagues, professional sports leagues, have their own streaming
dude,
network or whatever.
well,
It's bizarre.
have you ever thought about this? Because I've always wondered this. Why do the professional teams in a city not just come together and say, "Hey, let's make a package with our three teams"? Like, say the Hawks, Falcons, and Braves came together and said, "Hey, we'll make a year subscription, and if you pay for it, you can watch every game
You're
that's
getting
for your
into my
team."
business right now, and I just like instantly I was like, well, hopefully they did a cost benefit analysis to try to figure out if that would be more lucrative. But like in the long term, it definitely would be just to have it all in house.
Yeah, let me just pay for, and especially with streaming and stuff now, like let me just pay one fee to watch my team, every one of my teams, and let me pick what teams I want to watch. And like
Yeah.
that should be how it's done. I don't know why that's not a thing yet.
I mean, it's like the last remaining item in cable. So I'm sure
Yeah.
like sports are and these franchises are getting paid very well to stay like live events.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. Yeah, they will.
But I mean, yeah, it's interesting to say the least. Apparently, Bally might be going bankrupt here in the next couple weeks. So who knows what that means? Maybe it'll go back to Fox Sports or something else.
Fox Sports
Who knows?
South.
Back
Something
to it.
else worth talking about the Braves was Snicker getting his extension,
Yeah,
which which I thought was cool. One, I mean, you don't want to have a lame duck manager, especially when you just won a World Series. Like he deserves to not have a year. Like you know what I mean? Like it just be hovering
Yeah.
over his head.
Yeah, he got it. He got an extension after the World Series when I think to 2024, but then he just got pushed out to 2025 as well.
2025. Yeah.
So he doesn't have to like worry about anything
Right.
essentially. But he is kind of older, so it is interesting. Like, when is he gonna call it quits? Maybe never. I don't know. We had Bobby Cox when he was super old too.
We had Bobby Cox till 69.
He was
So
6. Oh my god, man, ages are weird. Because like, don't you feel like Bobby Cox when you're growing up, he was like
I thought he was like
90?
80. Yeah, I thought
80
he
or
was
90.
so old.
And
Yeah.
now, like being 60 years old now, you're like, oh, that feels like middle age now.
Yeah.
Probably just because we're getting older, but
Yeah, we are. Snicker's 67. So
although the way people look now is like way different. Like the new generation of like people in their 60s as opposed to 20 years ago. It's like they look way younger now than what they did before. Is that just me? I don't know.
it might just be you though. I don't know. I think
Maybe
that
that's
all the
part of
time,
aging.
bro.
I don't know.
I think it's
You
part of
just
aging.
justify
You just,
it
it becomes more
yourself.
normalized to you. It just
Yeah.
becomes more normalized to you.
Shit,
It's just
you're probably
that's
right.
what it is.
It's
We're just getting old.
It's a psychology thing. I should have taken a psychology class in college so I could understand what's going on. I didn't.
What are these feelings I have inside?
Yeah.
I think Snicker will ride the window out. We got a couple. He's like two at least 3 more years of World
The guy
Series.
was just wasting away and like managing in the minors for like 30 or 40 years. He's probably wanted to just ride this as long as possible.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
is
yeah.
his life's work and like, just bask in the limelight. And
He's
he's
got
the whole team is built around him. He doesn't have to do a ton.
Yeah, it's
Like,
locked up for the next 5-10 years. He also has like one of the best coaching staffs as well. On top of that, like you have Ron Washington. Yeah, he's been. I mean, Ron Washington's the same when Washington was part of Moneyball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Like you.
There's a reason that it's a big deal that Vaughn Grissom is like spending his off season going to see Ron Washington.
Yeah,
and like working directly with him one-on-one, and that's his best chance to be.
He knows it too.
Shortstop. So yeah, it's good to have these assets at your disposal. And shout out to Snit. He did what he had to do and brought us to the forefront of baseball. And we haven't made a ton of off-season moves. And the Sean Murphy move was a little surprising too. But
is he Darren O'Day retired?
Yeah, Darren O'Day, the sidearm guy for the Braves. He's kind of been back and forth the last few years, but we haven't made a ton of moves, but we didn't have to. We're still constantly ranked as like top 5 team in baseball. So it'll be interesting. I need to look at the timing of spring training, and we can kind of ramp up, and maybe we can do like a position analysis
when we start talking about Braves
against other NL East teams and kind of where we stack up. But
did you see that post I sent you where it was like talking about World Series contenders this year, and 3 of the teams that are considered World Series contenders by MLB Network are in the NL East. It's the Braves, the Mets, and the Phillies, and then like the Astros, and there's one other team. I can't remember the other team, but maybe the Dodgers. I think those are maybe the 4 teams, or I can't remember all of them. But I thought that was interesting.
Dodgers are right up there. The Yankees probably are consistent, but
they were the tier below the Yankees were. But yeah.
They're always right in there, but they've had trouble getting past the Astros. Astros, they've just built a juggernaut as well. I guess that's another big thing is the Astros hired the Braves assistant GM, so that's significant. I can't remember his name, but he's worked with AA for a long time, so
don't like that.
Steal too many of our secrets.
Yeah. He's gonna start locking. Astros are going to start locking players up pretty early now. Start getting those good deals. Do we want to go into Sam's soccer seg real quick?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let me touch on this.
I don't think I have a United drop, but United.
Yeah, right. United. The Five Stripes had a preseason game over the weekend in which we tied 3-3. This is going to be Aaron's segment, so I'm not going to get super big into it, but we played Chattanooga, I believe. Let me double check that to make sure.
No, that's correct.
Yeah, Chattanooga. And I'll be honest, like a lot of the people who keep up with the soccer way more than I do were disappointed in this 3-3 tie. It's a preseason game, and like that's what you got to tell yourself, it's just a preseason game. But I think there was expectations that we would beat this team by a lot, and we didn't. If you watch any of the highlights, like it seemed like a couple of the goals that the other team scored were just like defensive meltdowns. Like we had the ball, we failed to take it away. They did one pass, score a goal. So like, I'm not gonna read too much into it. It's the preseason.
So this is Brad Guzan's return too, right?
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's back in goal. I wouldn't put
Yeah.
a lot of the goals on him, but there was one in particular where I was like, oh, that was not good. So
Well, better in the preseason than the regular season. So hopefully work out some of the kinks there.
oh, absolutely. So that's Sam's soccer seg. Hope you enjoyed it, Sam. Nice and short today. Yeah, that's all I want to say about that. But we gotta get into the Falcons.
Oh,
Falcons.
I was not prepared for that transition. I was like trying to find the button.
Yeah, all good. So a couple of things we need to talk about since last week. One, the Falcons are ESPN's favorite to land Lamar. I don't know where that's coming from. I still think he's probably more likely to end up in Baltimore still. Like, I think that's the most likely case. Like, when you build your whole system around that guy, you can't let the system leave. Like, that's your system.
Man.
You can't let the system leave.
I'm trying to think of, like, what are some of the other landing spots, or do you know
For
besides
Lamar,
those two? Yeah.
oh man. I mean, I've heard like the Panthers. I saw the Saints say they'd be interested. I don't know how the Saints would get them, but they figure
Yeah.
the Saints figure everything out somehow. Like the cap is a joke to them and they make it work every year. I don't get it. I don't know if he doesn't. The Jets would be another one he probably would want,
That's a big
but
one.
I just
People
don't
are
see them
saying
trading
that
into the AFC. That'd be really hard.
the Jets hired Nathaniel Hackett as their offensive
get
coordinator.
Rodgers?
So there's rumors that Aaron Rodgers wants to go there now.
What a horrible hire by them. Like,
Dude.
it's not a good like. And when you're talking about like an uninspiring offense, the Denver was awful this last year, and you're gonna go hire him, and that's your plan to.
They got a little bit better once he got fired too. So
Yeah, I feel bad for Jets fans everywhere. Shout out Frank, like, and who knows? Hackett maybe do a great job. He might can do a great job. It just is a very uninspiring hire. I would hate that hire. It'd be like us going out and getting what's his name, Jim Shorts. What's that guy who is the Lions head coach?
yeah, Schwartz. I think he was the offensive coordinator in Philly before that, like during their last.
I thought it was a
Super Bowl.
DC.
Was he defensive?
Yeah,
coordinator?
I think he's a defensive coordinator.
Oh, maybe you're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Cleveland hired
Peterson's
him as their yeah. He was the defensive coordinator for the Eagles 16 through 20. And he was the Lions head coach from 2009 to 2013. Yeah, so he got hired by the Browns to be their defensive coordinator. Like, I just feel like that's uninspiring hire at this point. Like, he's been tossed around so many times. Like, if the Falcons would have hired him, I would have been upset. So I just feel like Hackett's the same way.
It's funny how some of these coaches, like, they jump around from bad franchise to bad franchise.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, Schwartz went from the Lions now to the Browns, and the Browns, that kind of tracks for them and the decision making that they have.
Yeah. And then so Vic Fangio, he ends up in Miami. I think this makes a ton of sense for him. Because here's the thing for Vic, he doesn't want to go somewhere where he has to build something back up. Like, I get, like, the Falcons, for example. I get why some of these bigger names might not want to come to the Falcons because it's going to be a hard job. You got to take a team who's finished bottom 10 in the NFL 9 times in the last 10 years, basically.
Yeah.
And you got to make them good. So I get why he didn't land here. He got paid. I think they said he's like one of the highest paid defensive coordinators in history. So Miami shelled out to get Vic Fangio. Good for him. I'm glad he got the money he wanted. But we ended up with another guy who I honestly was really excited about. Ryan Nielsen. Is that how you say it? Nielsen, probably. Nielsen. That's right. Nielsen. Yeah, Ryan Nielsen. So he was the co-defensive coordinator for the Saints. He's also been their defensive line coach since I think 2016, 2017. And just for people who don't like know what he's known for, the Saints defense sucked prior to him coming in there. And since he's been there, they've finished top 5 in the league in sacks for the last 5 years. They've also finished top 5 in the league against the run the last 5 years. And he's been the defensive line coach / defensive coordinator this last year. Sean Payton was actually rumored to want to hire him as his defensive coordinator wherever he landed. So this was a huge – and also last year too, he was going to go to the Tigers, but Sean Payton promoted him to not Sean Payton, but LSU. LSU was going to get him as their defensive coordinator. He turned it down.
A lot of Tigers out there. So
LSU tried to get him as their defensive coordinator, but he turned it down because they promoted him to co-defensive coordinator for the Saints, which kept him there for one more year. So, but they knew apparently. Like, I was on Saints Wire. I was reading their article. They have an article about it. So Saints Wire, which is like the Falcoholic for us. They wrote 7 Saints free agents who could leave to join Ryan Nielsen in Atlanta. So they're hiring a longtime New Orleans defensive coordinator. And it might open the door for an excess of talent to leave the black and gold. They're worried about it. I saw in Twitter Spaces, Saints fans were really upset about this. Which was like, I was so happy. Like listening to them upset made me very happy because anytime you can steal talent from your rival, it's a huge deal.
Well, hopefully it turns into like a name brand defensive coordinator, and then it's like, oh shit, we let the wrong guy leave, and then.
Oh yeah, so the Vikings were the team competing with us for him. The Vikings really wanted him too, but he ended up choosing Falcons. I think Terry Fontenot helped us with that, having that connection there. And so for one, I get he's a step below Flores and Vic Fangio. Like those would probably be the top 2 targets that we talked about. But also Flores might end up being a head coach. A lot of people think he'll be the Cardinals' new head coach.
He deserves a chance. He got
screwed over. He got screwed. Yes,
but yeah, there's a reason that I wanted Fangio or Brian Flores, and just because they have
proven
head coaching experience and like more experience. Like Nielsen that we got, but he's more up and coming. But yeah, I get why Art wouldn't want to do that, because that puts a little bit more pressure on you if you have somebody like a coordinator that can just step into the head coaching role. Just like right there at the end of the season. So probably don't want to do that, but
I read some other things too, talking about how the Falcons wanted a guy who would stay for multiple years. And with Nielsen, there's like, he won't be poached right away was the thought to be a head coach, but he is up and coming on the head coaching. Like people think if it goes well for Atlanta, he'll be off in 3 years or so, but they wanted someone who could stay here for the next 3 or 4 years and help develop this young talent.
3 years. Yeah. If Flores or Fangio comes in and Atlanta has a top 10 defense, they're gone.
Exactly. So
that's a really good point.
That was something that I think that was important. And I think too, like out of all the guys we could have hired, there were so many more uninspiring hires. Like I think we ended up with a solid hire. I gave it a B plus. That was my grade. I gave it a B plus. I can't give it an A because I think the Vic Fangio and the Flores were your A's tier, but I gave it a B plus. I think one, we've been horrible at sacking the quarterback, like historically horrible the last 5 years at sacking the quarterback, and the Saints have been historically fantastic at it.
I'll give it a B plus as well. I'm not going to average you out this time to bring it down a level. I
appreciate that.
I think I'll add the extra plus on there because it does take him away from the Saints, and like there's that extra little grudge there. So hopefully that works out well. He's taking over for Dean Pease. There's a base there already, so like you don't want to see any regression. Hopefully, we do go into the draft and we'll take some edge rushers that can improve the pass rush in that part of the game, and he can develop some schemes that'll really emphasize it.
There's a couple of interesting things, though, you said. One is he actually kind of runs a different scheme than Dean Pease, which is interesting, which I like this to show that Art was open. Like, he was open-minded. Like, he's like, you know what? What he said was we want someone who's flexible. And Nielsen is flexible. He runs – the Saints do a little something different than a lot of teams. They run more cover 2 than like cover 3 or cover 4. They have a lot of 2 high safeties a lot more often, and they play out of dime a lot more often than other teams do. So what I thought was cool with this was that we might not go Jesse Bates route anymore because he's kind of a single high safety. We may go a different route there, which is a little interesting. But I think this is going to end up helping Richie Grant a lot, and it's going to really help our front line. And he's known to develop young guys. Cam Jordan, before he went to the Saints, Cam Jordan was just a good player. Now Cam Jordan's probably going to go down as a Hall of Fame defensive lineman for the Saints.
Speaking of the Saints and like their free agents, do you know like what kind of players we're looking at potentially recruiting?
Yeah, so I actually have a couple right here. Something else I wanted to read was Cam Jordan came out after Nielsen got the job and said Ryan to DC job was inevitable. Top tier D-line coach in terms of developing pass rush and emphasizing technique on run gap and integrity. No, on run and gap integrity. I wish him semi the best as he's willingly went to the Falcons. Happy-ish for him. So that's Cam Jordan. That's Hall of Fame defensive lineman Cam Jordan. He's upset about it.
New Orleans royalty, basically.
Royalty, yes.
He's been there that long.
And there's rumors that he actually may get cut this year because they can't afford him. Ooh. And people were asking, would Cam Jordan come play for the Falcons? I doubt it. He hates the Falcons. But there's a chance. There is a chance. So he's someone to keep on your radar.
Money talks.
He's still on. That does. He's still in contract with the Saints, but he's a potential cut person for them. So the people I would like to bring up that we could look into getting is one, the big name, Marcus Davenport. We already mentioned this. He's that young defensive lineman.
Is it interior?
He's an edge rusher.
Okay.
So he's someone that the Saints traded. So when they drafted Davenport, they traded a first round pick to go get him. Yeah. So this is a guy. He had 9 sacks in 2021 when he was healthy. He's been off and on healthy and not healthy though. So what's the money going to be?
Could help with the price point.
It will help. And also Nielsen knows best whether he's worth investing in or not. If he thinks he's probably going to be an injury prone person, we might not go for him at all. You know what I mean? Like working with him personally, you get to know that. A couple more people. These are on the defensive tackles, Shai Tuttle and David Onyemata. So Shai Tuttle is a bigger guy. He'd be more your run stuffing 4-3 defensive tackle. And David Onyemata was more of a pass rush. Both guys would be awesome and Grady. What I like about both these guys too is then you don't have to go spend big on like a De'Aaron Payne or something like that because these guys have contributed well and a great defense the last over the couple of years with Nielsen, and he knows what he's getting exactly when he's going for these guys.
I gotta say that was excellent pronunciation of those names through there. Names are hard, everybody. You don't realize how hard names are to say, especially if you're like looking dead at them until you're on a podcast
and you haven't pronounced it yet. Yeah, exactly. Caden Ellis is a young outside linebacker who would be awesome to see come rush the quarterback as a blitzing linebacker for us. I would love to go get him. And then someone else who we mentioned last week was Bradbury, who doesn't play for them now. He plays for I think the Eagles. And then Gardner Johnson, who also plays for the Eagles. Like, those are other names who have played for the Saints before who would be cool targets to go get because he has familiarity with Nielsen. So those are guys I was looking into. What I like about the thought process of going after some of those guys means, say we go get Davenport and we go get maybe a defensive tackle. Well, now you're saving money on defensive tackle there, and now you don't have to go get an edge in your first pick anymore. So now you maybe go get an offensive lineman. Like, because I'm starting to lean towards offensive lineman or cornerback personally, because I think those are two of the areas that we can't get too much better on in free agency. Because they just cost a lot. Those positions do. Where edge guys, we have some talent on the team, and I think by going and getting like a Davenport or something like that, you could really boost the lineup. So I don't know. I'm thinking Terry's done a great job of finding talent in places other people haven't looked. So maybe we get some diamonds in the rough for a little better pricing, and we spend our big money on some bigger names.
I will say I was playing around with what is it, Pro Fantasy Football website. They have like a mock draft simulator.
Yeah.
So if anybody's bored and wants to try to figure out what the Falcons should do, send us your screenshot of.
Oh, please do. That'd be cool.
I was messing around with it a little bit. I was picking up some edge rushers early, but I don't know how accurate it is. I guess it's all based on like statistics and like what the predictability is. But yeah, like one of them was like Will Anderson dropping down to the Falcons at 8.
I saw you had been him 8.
I was like, what? Which he's like regarded as maybe like the number 1 overall
edge,
right there with Jalen Carter, and who else? Probably Stroud at this point. I think he's kind of higher than Young, but that would be interesting. But the one thing I noticed was a group of wide receivers late in the second round, which were early in the second. So maybe we end up trading up in that area to pick up one of those guys, or we trade back a little bit. So there's a lot of good guys through there. One of which is Hyatt from Tennessee. Who has good speed. It could kind of feel that role we were talking about, but
I actually saw it exciting. I know. I'm excited I'm ready for free agency to start. I think free agency starts in March for NFL. So we got another month before we get there. We still got the Super Bowl coming up, but I'm excited to get to free agency because it'll clear the picture more of what we're going to do draft wise. But I saw someone I saw this one and I want to talk about a little bit. This was a pre-Senior Bowl edition mock draft, but it was after the hiring of Ryan Nielsen. So they're saying like, well, maybe we bring in Marcus Davenport. So say we bring in an edge guy. He goes, so instead of doing edge first, he went for Paris Johnson Jr., the tackle out of Ohio State, who's right up there with Broderick Jones. The reason he chose Paris Johnson over Broderick though is because Paris also can play guard. So like you could plug and play him anywhere.
Flexibility. Yeah.
Exactly. He could play all over the line, which I was like, that'd be really cool. Let's get him. And then the second pick was Nolan Smith out of Georgia at 45.
Yeah, it's
he got hurt, so he drops down. Yeah,
because
if we
like
could
I
get
think at
him
the
the
beginning of the
second.
season it was like a toss up between him and Jalen Carter of who was better,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So
And so
now we could get him at pick 45 in the second. I would
that
be awesome.
that
So
would be a steal.
and round 3 they had Garrett Williams out of Syracuse. He's a cornerback. So like I was saying, I think cornerback's something we should. And then they picked Jamie Robinson, who's a safety out of Florida State, the 4th pick. And then Jaden Reed out of Michigan State was our wide receiver they picked in the 4th as well. So like you said, probably need to go another running back, but it was very defensive heavy in this. They also had a wide receiver, Trey Tucker from Cincinnati, as a 7th round pick because of familiarity with our guy
Oh,
Ritter. So that'd be
that's
kind
a
of
good point.
something to look
Oh,
into. Yeah,
you reminded me. When I was doing the mock draft, Kenny McIntosh was like in the late 5th to 6th rounds. I was like,
that seems so wrong.
I don't know if that's accurate still, so maybe it needs to be updated, and maybe they will update the website a
He'll
little bit
climb the
more.
board after the combine, right, or something like that. Like he has to.
God, man, if it's that late, then I would be remiss not to say we should definitely take him because I love Kenny,
Yeah,
but he's also just a stud. If you pair him with Algiers, like then you just have fresh legs all the time.
all the
To
time.
rotate them through.
I'd ask you a question, and I already know basically what your answer is, but what do we say to the fans who want us to go get Bijan from
Shut up.
Texas? Like
Shut
what?
up.
What? I don't
There's
get
no
it.
point.
I
Guys, running backs are there's just so many out there. You pick one up off the street or a guy that hasn't played in 2 years like Philip Lindsay, and they'll probably produce about the same, all depending on the offensive line and the offensive scheme.
yeah.
So like it doesn't really you should not sink so much of an investment into a running back because their career longevity is so short. You see with Zeke now, he's at the tail end, and he actually
That's
got
a
a second
contract.
contract.
Yeah, never do
But
that.
but yeah, like so the Cowboys lucked into Tony Pollard basically being a stud, and he's kind of taken over for Zeke while they ride out the rest of his contract. And he's a good leader, I'll give him that. But yeah, you don't want to be sitting on one of those contracts. And look what happened with Todd Gurley a couple years ago. He got a huge contract with the Rams after he was like a 12th pick overall or something like that.
Yeah. Well,
But
I'm trying to think. In the last past Super Bowls, name who's been the best running back to win a Super Bowl.
who
What?
won last year?
The Rams did. That's Cam Akers, but he
Whew. I mean, yeah, Joe Mixon was the better running back in that game.
yeah. But my point is I just feel like
Yeah.
you don't often see stud running backs in the Super Bowl. When you invest that much of your money into a running back, you're not going to make it. I feel like you're just not going to make a Super Bowl. Derrick Henry, for example, you're just when it's
No,
your best player.
That's the best example because that was the team that was completely carried by the running back position without like a really capable quarterback. I mean, Tannehill is serviceable, but he's not going to win games for you.
No.
Derrick Henry was winning games for them.
Yeah.
And he didn't quite make it. I think they made it to the AFC Championship a couple years ago, but that's as far as they could get.
Yeah, you can't, and that's the hardest part is that when you invest too much money in a running back, same way if you invest too much money in a wide receiver, same way like when you get too locked up, you're not going to be able to compete as well. So I don't get it. I would be pretty upset if we take Bijan. To be honest, I would. It wouldn't make sense.
I don't see it happening. Terry's shown us too much of what he can do.
Yeah.
There's just no reason, especially with Algier showing what he could do. Even Huntley is a serviceable backup in the NFL from what we've seen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Huntley is the perfect definition. If you run violently, you're going to do well in the NFL.
That's also a good example of picking up a guy off the street. He was on the practice team, right?
He was undrafted. He was undrafted when we got him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's just a further example of why that would be ridiculous, and it would be essentially a wasted pick, which they're already sitting on Pitts, who is like borderline right now. He needs to have a breakout year next year to not be
I feel like people
pick.
keep forgetting, though, he did get 1,000 yards in his first year. He had a good first year, and which gives him that's why I won't call it a bust yet, because I understand what happened this year, but I agree with you. He does need to have another 1,000-yard year next year.
You don't regress in year 2.
Did he regress, or did the quarterback play regress? Because to me, if you look at Kyle Pitts this year, he did more this year all around than he did last year. He was a better blocker this year.
Only like the hardo Falcons fans are going to look back in 10 years and be like, oh yeah, why did Kyle Pitts have such a shitty year, his second year in the league, and be like, oh, that's right, I
Marcus
think
Mariota.
that was Mariota.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
guess you're
but like
right.
the record books are gonna show, oh, he regressed really hard, and like he's gonna be slept on in a lot of fantasy communities in this coming season, which I think that names him a very good sleeper pick.
Sleeper pick,
Um,
yeah.
and he'll be taken at a value a couple rounds later, and he probably should because Ritter actually did utilize the tight end.
Oh,
This
Michael
has been,
Pruitt did a great
yeah,
job.
Michael
Yeah, and
Pruitt.
if you had Kyle Pitts, that's the thing too is people forget too. Everyone's like, well, Ritter's numbers weren't that good. Well, all he had was Drake London to throw the ball to.
I mean,
Like,
yeah, it was a run based offense as well. So
yeah, like
hopefully it
I,
opens up a little bit.
I mean, we saw it open up too to end the year. I
Yeah.
will say that we saw it open up some. So yeah, just keep someone else. I really wanted to bring this up real quick before we close this chapter. Was that we were also looking to interview. Where is his name? Where's his name? Jerry Gray. So Jerry Gray he's a defensive coach with the Packers. He is their secondaries coach. The Packers have had a top 5 secondary like 3 of the last 5 years. They've been incredible. I don't know if we're gonna go able to go out and get him, but that'd be awesome if we went out and got him as the number 2 behind Nielsen. I mean, it shows you get 2 of the best young, or what am I trying to say, 2 of the best coordinating talents on the same team, which would be really
Would
cool.
they be like co-coordinators,
I don't
or
think
do we just
so.
pay them a lot more?
I think yeah, I think he would just be a like a higher paid assistant. He's 60 years old, so like
Okay.
he's not trying to. I don't think he's trying to land a head coaching job. I just think we'd be willing to pay him to give him like a maybe he wants to be more than just a D backs coach.
Yeah.
Maybe he could be our assistant defensive coordinator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
I don't know exactly what the title would be, but I do hope we land him too if that's the case, or we land someone like I don't know. I just like that we're going for more talent coaching wise because I mean that's what helps set you apart.
Hey, sometimes you got to build depth in the coordinator room, or in case somebody gets hit pregame.
Hey, we've seen it happen. We've seen it
Yeah.
happen. We also cut
uh,
ties with all of our coaches except for Bush, who he's the one who play called that game for the defense. We kept Devin Bush. So he was the only coordinator we
Interesting.
kept on the defensive side, which shows that we like that guy. I think he was our linebacker coach. So
Tough field to be in. Coaching is all over the place.
oh, for sure. I think that's all I have today. Oh, one last thing. Kellen Moore became the
Oh
scapegoat for the
yeah,
Dallas Cowboys. They fired him and
has been.
he was hired within a second, basically, by the Chargers. So he'll be the Chargers' new OC. I think you're about to see their offense take off next year. Like
Yeah.
people are saying rip to Eckler. I'm like, what do you mean rip to Eckler? Because Tony Pollard and Zeke both feasted this year in fantasy. Like if
Yeah.
is that what you're worried about? Back like they both finished top 20 in fantasy. I'm pretty sure, and that's with a wash Zeke. So I think Dallas is dumb. I don't know why Dan Quinn decided to stay.
So
I don't.
this all comes down to Mike McCarthy because he's not that good of a coach. He's
Yeah.
just barely good enough. He had his career made by Aaron Rodgers, which got him a second job with the Cowboys, which I think Dan Quinn has carried him a lot of the way, and I think we'll see next year, depending on who they bring in to be their offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore has done an outstanding job as their
Yeah.
offensive coordinator with the talent that they have too. Because I
That was
mean, I
weird,
don't know.
right? That was a weird fire, right?
I think so, but it's one of those fires that like you have to do something because a lot of Cowboys fans were pretty upset that they didn't make it further again.
I saw
But
something too. I think it was ESPN who was like, "What are y'all upset about?" He goes, "Y'all haven't won a playoff game in like 20 years, and you finally won one this year. Like, be like y'all. I think you've won 5 playoff games in like 20 years, something like that. Like, you should be happy. This is rare for y'all."
man, if that
Yeah.
Chargers offense can stay healthy too, that's a lot of weapons at his disposal. And if he can unlock Herbert like he was last season, he did. Justin Herbert did just have like uh,
Labor and
maybe
surgery, right?
yeah, some kind
Yeah.
of arm surgery.
I saw it
So
be healthy though by the season start. So
yeah,
yeah, no, I think I don't know, man. If I'm a Dallas fan right now, I don't feel great about that. I don't feel great losing your OC who's done a great job with less talent. Like you traded away your second best wide receiver this year before the season even started, Amari Cooper.
yeah.
Um, so you did a great job with less talent. Heck, you won. How many games did they win with backup quarterback this year? How many games did Prescott? They won like 4, I think, 4 of the 6 or
Yeah,
something.
4 or 5. Yeah,
Yeah, like I don't know. I think Kellen Moore's a good offensive mind, and I think it's a huge pickup by the Chargers. And I think it might save Brandon Staley's job.
Yeah. Hey, good hire. Hopefully they let him have a lot of the input. But yeah, so I guess that's it. Is that it,
Yeah,
guys?
that's it.
I'm excited for this podcast because Blake is going to go watch the latest episode of The Last of Us.
I'm very excited to watch it.
If he doesn't show up to the next podcast episode in tears still, I'll be surprised because it is so good, so happy / sad.
Yeah, y'all should be watching it,
if anybody
guys.
hasn't watched it. If anybody hasn't watched it or they've watched the first couple episodes and lost interest, watch till episode 3 and then decide if you're in or not because it is very good and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it.
I'm excited. The Hawks do play tonight. We play Portland. So if you're listening to this next morning, hopefully we're waking up together happy about a win. Are we happy about wins still? I am. I hate losing. I hate losing more than whatever the crap is going on right now. So let's just keep winning.
Yeah, why not? Might as well.
Might as well. Anything else right now? Harry Potter comes out not next week, but the week after that.
Ooh, Hogwarts
So
Legacy.
get ready to pre-order that. Get ready to play. I'm gonna get it for the PlayStation 5, and I will be parking my butt on the couch every day after work.
Hell yeah! I think I'm gonna go the Dark Wizard route.
Oh yeah, like if you can kill your fellow wizard mates, why not? You know, like
Yeah,
gotta
cause
Crucio
some
them.
chaos.
Crucio.
That's gonna be fun.
It will
Kenzie's
be,
even gonna
so.
play that one. She doesn't usually play games on PS5. That's my territory, but
That's my territory. Yeah, I'm excited. Trying to think anything else.
I don't think so. Aaron, suck it. Should have been
Aaron.
on. Should have hopped in here, but guess not.
Aaron, do you have a
Just
response?
us. Guess not.
Oh, okay. That's not okay.
The silence.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Happy February.
Yeah, check out this oh no slapper as we wrap up. Later.
Later.